I still remember the exact moment my 10-year-old son looked me in the eye and said, "T, I don't want your last name anymore." He didn't hesitate, he didn't cry. He simply smiled the same confident smile his mother was wearing. Then he added the sentence that shattered 15 years of my life. "My new dad says you're a loser. He says I deserve a real man's name." For a few seconds, the entire room became silent. My wife, Rebecca, folded her arms proudly as if she'd been waiting years to hear those words. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. Instead, I slowly reached into my briefcase, pulled out a single document and a black fountain pen. I slid both across the dining table. "Fine," I said calmly. "If that's what you really want, sign here." Neither of them had the slightest idea what that signature would really cost, and 1 week later, our family's estate lawyer called Rebecca. His voice was shaking. "Ma'am, do you realize what you just let your son sign away? My name is Daniel Carter. I grew up outside Charleston, South Carolina, in a family that believed your name meant something, not because it sounded important, but because every generation earned it. My grandfather started Carter Marine Supply with one rented warehouse after serving in Vietnam. My father turned it into one of the largest marine equipment distributors on the East Coast. By the time I inherited the company, it employed more than 400 people. Most people assumed I was wealthy because of the business. They were wrong. The real fortune wasn't the company, it was the Carter Family Trust, a trust my grandfather created decades earlier. Its rules were simple. Only direct descendants carrying the Carter family name could inherit. The trust couldn't be changed, not by lawyers, not by judges, not even by me. I rarely talked about it. Rebecca knew the basics when we married. But after 12 years together, she seemed to forget. The first 8 years of our marriage were wonderful. Rebecca laughed at my terrible jokes. We built a beautiful home outside Charleston. Then Ethan was born. Holding my son for the first time remains the happiest day of my life. Everything I did after that was for him. I coached Little League, never missed a birthday, skipped business trips just to attend school plays. I wasn't perfect, but I was always there. Then came Ryan. Ryan was Rebecca's new manager at a luxury real estate company. Expensive watches, sports cars, perfect white smile. Within months, Rebecca started changing. She criticized everything. The way I dressed, the way I talked, even the fact that I preferred fixing old fishing boats over attending charity galas. "You don't act like a successful man," she'd tell me. Ryan did. Apparently, that mattered more. Our marriage collapsed slowly. Counseling failed. Rebecca filed for divorce. She moved into Ryan's modern waterfront condo only 3 months later. Ethan spent alternate weeks with me. At first, he still called every night. Then the calls became shorter. Soon, they stopped. Ryan bought him expensive sneakers, gaming computers, VIP baseball tickets. Every weekend became another competition I had no interest in winning. I believed love would eventually speak louder than money. I underestimated how persuasive constant influence could become. The dinner happened 6 months later. Rebecca invited me over to discuss Ethan's future. Ryan was there. So was Ethan. The atmosphere felt rehearsed. Rebecca cleared her throat. "Ethan has something he wants to tell you." My son looked directly at me. "I want Ryan to adopt me." The words hit harder than the divorce papers ever had. Ryan placed a possessive hand on Ethan's shoulder. "I've been more of a father than you lately." Rebecca nodded proudly. I looked only at my son. "Is this truly what you want?" He answered instantly. "I don't want your last name anymore." Then came the sentence that broke me. "Ryan says you're a loser. I should have a real man's name." Something inside me quietly snapped, not with anger, with sadness. I reached into my briefcase, pulled out the legal acknowledgement, placed it in front of Ethan. "If you're certain, sign." Ryan smirked. Rebecca smiled. Neither bothered reading more than the title. Ethan signed. Rebecca signed as guardian. Ryan signed as witness. I quietly folded the document, wished everyone well, and walked away. 7 days later, I was sitting in my office reviewing inventory reports when my phone rang. It was our family's estate attorney, Harold Mitchell. He sounded exhausted. "Daniel, I've just received a panicked call from Rebecca." I assumed she already knew. Knew what? The trust provisions. I closed my eyes. So she finally found out. Harold sighed. I explained everything. The moment Ethan legally requested removal of the Carter surname, and voluntarily acknowledged separation from the Carter family line, he permanently surrendered every future claim to the Carter family trust. Silence, then Harold quietly added, "She had no idea." An hour later my phone exploded with missed calls. Rebecca, Ryan, unknown numbers, voicemails. Finally, Rebecca appeared outside my office. She looked nothing like the confident woman from dinner. Mascara streaked down her face. "You knew." "Yes." "You tricked us." "No." I asked one question. "Is this truly what you want?" "You all answered." She burst into tears. Do you know what Ethan gave up? I do. He was supposed to inherit millions. I looked directly at her. No. He was supposed to inherit a family. The money came second. For the first time, she had absolutely nothing to say. 3 days later, someone knocked on my front door. It was Ethan. Alone, no Ryan, no Rebecca. He stood there holding a small backpack. His eyes were red from crying. Dad, that one word nearly broke me. I didn't know. I thought changing my name was just a name. I knelt until we were eye level. It never was. He sobbed. Ryan kept saying you never cared. I believed him. I hugged him tighter than I'd ever hugged anyone. I'll always love you. No signature can change that. He cried into my shoulder for several minutes, then quietly asked, "Can I still be your son?" I smiled through tears. You never stopped being my son. Rebecca eventually left Ryan. Their relationship hadn't been built on love, only appearances. Months later, she asked to meet, not to discuss money, not to argue, simply to apologize. I confused success with character. I taught Ethan the same mistake. I accepted her apology. Forgiveness didn't erase the past, but it allowed all of us to move forward. The trust couldn't legally restore Ethan's inheritance. Those rules had existed long before any of us were born. But I created something new, a private education and business fund in my own name. Not because Ethan deserved another fortune, but because he deserved another chance. Years later, he graduated from college with honors. When he walked across the stage, they announced his name proudly. Ethan Carter. Not because money required it, because he had legally reclaimed the name he once threw away. After the ceremony, he hugged me and whispered, "I finally understand what makes a real man." I smiled. It was never the name, son. It was the man who lived up to it. And for the first time in many years, our family finally began healing. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below.